Okay, so today we're gonna be doing something fun. It's a tier list, but not just any tier list. A tier list based on Perth car meet spots, which is it's gonna be interesting to say the least. If you don't know how a tier list works, we've got fuck, can I count? Five ranks. D, C, B, A, and S. These ranks are tiers. Basically equate to how well a spot is based on criteria that I'll get into later. But basically the way it works is D tier is like awful. That's the place. Those are the places you don't want to go to. S tier is like it's golden. It's the spot you want to have like your meets at like almost all the time. Um, this is based on my experience as a car photographer and B as a car enthusiast as well. Um, like a genuine car enthusiast as well, not like a fucking sticker build person. But anyways, um, the criteria we'll be delving into is size, accessibility, facilities, and vibes. So what I mean by size is venue size, like how many cars can you fit in there? Um, is it big enough for everybody to get into and out of fairly easily? Um, for accessibility, we'll be discussing how centralized it is to the CBD, I guess, because the main way of discerning, I guess, a spot is if it's north or south of the river. Um, we're gonna break the norms. We're gonna break the traditions. We're gonna go if it's closer or farther from the CBD. We're gonna be talking about facilities. So like how well equipped the spot is. Like if there's like any decent food spots nearby. If there's like toilets and stuff. I guess lighting also factors into this. Me being a car photographer, lighting is very important for a spot. And last but not least, vibes. Like the genuine vibes you get from the spot. Like, does it give that like Fast and Furious or like Need for Speed Underground type of vibe, or does it give just a regular shopping center kind of vibe? No more delaying. Let's get into this. Bellman Forum. The undercover area. It's pretty big. I like the meets that happen here. The lighting is decent. It's quite a nice spot. My only gripe with it is that depending on who's organizing it, like what club is organizing the meet, there's not enough coverage. I guess the car park is too small, and also there's a clear separation, and there's also like a top part of the parking lot in this specific area. You've got the underground, then you've got the above ground, I guess. That goes on top of the undercover area. So like if the spot has too many cars in it, then obviously you'll get people parking at the top and at the bottom, and that just really separates it. Like you'll get the top people and then the peasants down below. So it's not really the best in terms of like mingling and like socializing with people, but it's still a really good spot. It's fairly close to the CBD. I believe this is south of River. I could be wrong. I'm not very geographically gifted. But, personally, I've taken some really good photos here. I love the spot. I love the vibes. A lot of speed bumps around, which isn't too bad, but, big L to those who drive slammed cars, especially if they're static. This spot is definitely painful for them. But, overall, I'd give it a B rank. Why B? Because it's pretty decent. Also because B is for Belmont, but also it's not an A rank. It doesn't have anything too, I guess, exotic about it. It's not. It's a friggin' shopping center parking lot. There's not really a whole lot to talk about here. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either, and it comfortably sits a B tier. Obviously it's nothing on the like fancier side, I guess, and there are spots where the lighting is a bit awful, but it's just shy of A tier purely because of the split separation, like the two levels. That I think is a big issue, especially like I remember doing photography here to meet like a while ago. I think this was late last year. It was a big meet. I completely fucking forgot about the top area. I was too engrossed with the undercover area that I forgot there was like a whole other half of the meat on top of it, which just threw me off because like there was also some really good cars there, and I was just pissed off for the rest of the meat because I was like, oh my goodness, I missed out on like so many good shots. So yeah, definitely B tier. Woodman Point, the boat ramp more specifically. Really big spot. It's not central to everybody. It's like a 20-minute drive from the CBD if I remember correctly. So it's not the best, but it's still a decent spot nonetheless. Me personally, I think it's like a poor man's Hillary's. You'll understand when I get to Hillary soon, but it's a decent spot nonetheless. I feel like it's more of a hoon spot, if anything. Like, if you're gonna be like a sick cunt and do like skids and shit, that's Woodman Point. It doesn't really feel like a meat spot. Facilities is like, I don't know about the toilets or food, so it's not really the best in that sector. The lighting here is god-awful. Like, don't get me wrong, golden hour shots, you'll get some really crisp shit here, like, not gonna lie. It's definitely a must-go location if you're doing, like, a big group photo shoot, and it's at, like, golden hour. But once it starts to get dark, you're gonna struggle with your photos unless you pack a tripod. But even then, like, the lighting here, it's not the worst. It's not like pitch black. You'll still have like a couple street lights here and there, but it's not the best in terms of photos or just in general with lighting. Vibes are pretty good. It does get a bit windy sometimes, so pack a jacket. Even in the summer months, I'd say. But it's a C tier. Like, it's big. It's good for like hooning. It's a decently sized meat spot, but it's pretty boring. There's not a whole lot to do, and the vibes are okay. Like, yeah, cool. It's next to a beach, but like that, it doesn't really like the cons outweigh the pro here. It's not the worst, so I wouldn't mind having a meet here. If you do decide to have a meet here, please make sure this is like one of the first stops, or if you do decide to integrate this stop into your meet, make sure you're getting like golden hour in. So like 6 to 7 is when you should have this stop in at your meet. If it's gonna be a static spot, don't do it past night. Your photographers are gonna hate you. Westfield Whitfords. D rank. I reversed into a parking pole here. No. Bit of your lore. I may or may not have accidentally not seen concrete pole here that I reversed into. So definitely get sweaty when I'm doing reverse park here. Definitely a skill issue on my part because I did not check behind me. As a meat spot, it's pretty decent. I like it. It's quite big. It's quite accessible. Decent facilities. It's like literally in a shopping center. Really good vibes. You'll get like friggin' what's that? The Tokyo Drift vibes with it. Like, cause it's like an underground, or not underground, but like undercover parking area. And it's pretty centralized as well. It's nothing too crazy like out of the CBD. It's not in the CBD, but it's pretty close. It's south of river, if I remember correctly. So you should be able to get to it pretty decently. It's like a half-hour drive for me. Worst case scenario, but pretty decent spot. I quite like it, but it's a massive parking lot, good facilities, good size, fairly accessible. I don't think there's anything too crazy. Of course, you'll have your speed bumps. So again, if you're static and lowered, rip. But again, nothing too crazy. You don't have to freaking go through a dirt track to get there. Definitely good vibes. It's an A tier. Personal bias aside, it's an A tier. Oh god, where do I even start with my point? Size, it is definitely lacking. I mean, it doesn't matter though. Mill Point may be small, but it's got a good personality. You can fit like maybe 20 cars here. In the bays, and like, that's on a really good day. Mill Point isn't like a car club meet spot. I think it's more just like a chill spot where like you and your mates go to like, I guess, rendezvous. Like it's not for like big car clubs, but like if like you and like 10 of your friends decide to go, oh yeah, we want to cruise for later, some shit, you just go like Mill Point, easy, central to everybody, fairly accessible. decent facilities. It's fairly close to like Macca's and shit. I mean, it's a drive though, but it's not like a walk away. Um, Great vibes, great fucking photos. This spot is amazing for photos. Um, Meat wise, though, not really the best, but it's definitely an iconic spot within Perth. Like, I think that's a fairly objective take on Mill Point. Everybody loves it. It's a shame it got shut down from hooning. I'm not gonna point fingers. Who did it? This isn't that kind of video, but Mill Point is easily S tier. Like, it's not a big meat spot, but it's still a meat spot regardless. S tier. Morley Galleria. Oh boy, this spot is... It's kind of the same as the Belmont Forum undercover area. Like, it's two-tiered, but the beauty about this spot is that you can either go have your meat below or above. You know, if you fancy yourself a top, you can, you can go for the top, like the above ground area, I guess. Pretty decent. Bit of an issue from what I've heard for people that are static and lowered because it's quite steep and there's speed bumps. But you'll get some good shots up there. The lighting is decent up there. It's not the best. You're not gonna get insane shots up there, but it's really good. The underground area is peak for lighting. It's such a good spot for lighting. Honest to God, you will get insane pictures there if you can just get your composition right. You've got Morley Galleria like right next to it, which is amazing. It's got good vibes. It's Morley though, so I don't know how well the vibes are. No offense if you live in Morley or near the Morley area. Like, it's a very suburban area, shall I say. Decent spot though. I can easily put this in A tier. Why not S tier? Because... Actually, what the fuck? Why am I not putting this in S tier? It's an S tier spot. What the hell? Okay. Ocean Reef. The boat ramp is really good. It's a 2-in-1 spot. You can post up with your mates near the boat ramp area down at the bottom and get some insane shots there. Especially with drones. If you can get a drone up and it's not too windy, you can pull off some nasty clips there. The actual boat ramp itself, or not the boat ramp, sorry, the actual parking lot next to the boat ramp itself is decent. You can hold a good few amount of people there. I'd say maybe 50, easily 50. It however suffers in the lighting department. It's the same as Woodman Point, but you've got like seldom any like streetlights here. There's none. I think there's like maybe 4 or 5 in the actual parking lot, and the spot below is even worse. But you can still pull off some decent shots with I think the 3, 4 streetlights down there, which isn't too bad. It's good. Decent spot, but again, it's a drive for a lot of people, so it's not too accessible. Facilities, I don't think there's any toilets or anything there, so if you have to piss, you have to do it in a bush. In terms of like the ranking, I really am tempted to give it A. But again, it suffers in the lighting department, so I might have to go B. But yeah, it's a B rank for me. It's a little bit too far from some people, and the lighting isn't the best if it's like a nighttime spot. So again, with Woodman Point, you're definitely gonna have to go and do this. Like, if you're gonna put it in your like meet or your cruise map, it's definitely gonna have to be a like 6 to 7 p.m. stop so you can catch golden hour. But if you're doing a morning meet or a morning cruise, definitely put this spot in there 100%. If you can, or if you know a lot of the people that are going to be in your like meet or cruise are like near this area or isn't too much of a hassle for them to get to, definitely put it there. It's such an amazing spot when there's good lighting. Up to Stadium. Decently sized venue. Fairly central to everybody. My biggest gripe with this spot is that you have to time it away from big events. If there's like a concert or something going on, you're fucked. Simple as is. You can't get a spot there. It's a good spot though. It's like you can get some really good shots like with Optus as a background. The parking is nice, but it's too packed in. So as a photographer, it's not that good for me. You won't be able to get too many like big car shots like as like a massive group unless you go really far away, but it's still a decent spot. It's again central to everybody. Um, Lighting at night and at afternoon is good. It's again, I feel like it's more like Mill Point where it should be more of a rendezvous point, like or just like a small meet spot, not like for big clubs. In terms of accessibility, it's pretty decent. It's close to Crown, so if you ever want to grab a feed at Macca's or need to go to the toilet, it's definitely a good spot for that. Vibes, it's definitely good with vibes as well. I mean, it's Optus Stadium. You can't go wrong there. It's it's nothing out of like this world, you know. It's nothing extraordinary, but it's pretty good nonetheless. Yeah. Good spot though. Definitely an A tier. Um, Definitely a really good spot, and the angled parking makes for great photos. And you know, for a lot of people, they find parking into angled spots easy, so it's not too much of a skill issue. Um, Decent spot, yeah. Again, but again, nothing too extraordinary to put it into S rank. Next up is the Scarborough Beach parking tower thingy. I don't know what the technical term for this is. I'm a photographer, not a freaking civil engineer. Um, it's quite a nice spot. It's quite big. You could easily fit the entire car scene in there, like from top to bottom, I think. Well, not everybody, but like a decent chunk of it. But I guess everybody's after the top part. Um, Accessibility, you're actually cooked. You're so cooked if you're static and you're lowered. God forbid you try and attempt to get up there. Like, it's pretty steep. I damn near stalled my Subi twice trying to get up there. Because, like, that's another thing. When you've got a whole meet trying to get up there, it's a hassle. Like, it's traffic. You're, like, riding your clutch. You can't really do a whole lot. A whole lot of handbrake starts as well if you're, like, caught stopped on like the ramps going upwards, but it's a decent spot nonetheless. It's in Scarborough though, so might be a bit of a drive for some people. Not too accessible, I guess, if you're far away from it. It's about a half hour for me on a decent day. Facilities, good luck trying to go to the toilet here. Like, I don't think there's any toilets or food nearby, so if you have to do your business, like, good luck, honestly. Like, you're not gonna be able to do it anywhere. It's a big open parking lot. Vibes are, oh my goodness, the vibes here are amazing. It's a rooftop parking lot, and like the beach is right next to it as well. The drone shots I got from when there was like a Perth WX meet, I think it was here, were insane. Like, they were absolutely insane. Breathtaking views, great photos. The only downside with it is getting up and down the parking garage is like it's gonna be a hassle. Like, you're not gonna have a good time, in all honesty. It's like it's a battle, really, an uphill battle, but it's definitely a good spot. uh A rank, I guess. Also, lighting. Oh yeah, lighting is good. Lighting is very good. But again, there's not a whole lot of good nighttime lighting here, so it's definitely again a golden hour spot or a morning spot. SciTech. This is a double whammy, because when people say SciTech, like, they could either mean the outside part or like the indoors underground area. Both are good. I prefer the underground area. Decent sized, really good accessibility. Facilities are squat though. Like, again, good luck trying to get to the toilets and like whatnot, especially if like the upstairs area, like where the shopping center and like SciTech actually is like closed. Um, Decent vibes, amazing lighting, and the background is neutral, so you can pull off some good photos without having to worry about your white balance too much. It's an iconic spot. It's fairly central to the CBD. Actually, it is in the CBD if you really, well, the CBD, but it's in the city, so it's central to everybody. Decent spot. I would say if you're gonna host a meet here, put it at the end of the night. Um, it's definitely more like a last stop kind of thing. It's good for photos, it's good for clips, it's good for vibes. Easily S rank. It's a good spot. I think it's quintessential to like any meet, in my opinion. It's either like a great way to kick it off or a great way to end it. If you're trying to do like a coast or like a north to south run, it's definitely a good middle point for people to like catch up in your run. Can't go wrong with this spot. The only issue is if the lights do go out, for the underground area, you're forced to go to the outside parking area, which is, it's not the worst. The lighting there isn't the best though, but you will still get some absolutely wonderful drone shots out there. And of course the CBD skyline's there, so that will make for some great photos. Up next, Spud Shed, like in general, like I'm talking Jandakot, Joondalup, just Spud Shed, parking lots in general. Most of them are like literally exactly the same. They're like big parking lot, with like, you know, decent lighting, fairly accessible depending on where they are. Facilities are good. It's fucking Spud Shed, bro. Spud Shed is goated. Like, toilets, food, really cheap energy drinks, you can't go wrong. It's Spud Shed. I love Spud Shed. Tony Galati is a G. But, in terms of, like, vibes and, like, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, it's good if you want, like, a good parking lot kind of meet vibe, but it's nothing too crazy. Definitely, what do you call it? B tier. Like, it's nothing out of this world, but, like, it's not too bad either. Like, lighting's always a hit or miss. Photos are always a hit or miss. But it's not awful either. It's definitely middle of the ground. Vet West Coburn. This spot is something, let me tell you that. My goodness. Okay. It's Coburn, so it's not too far from everybody, but it's not central. It's like, it's somewhere in between. I actually don't know where it is. Like, I think it's south. Decent spot. It's alright in terms of venue size. It's fairly accessible to everybody, you know, a couple speed bumps here and there, but it's nothing like... Actually, there's no speed bumps, depending on the way you're going, but there is a couple near the roundabout, so that is an issue. But, they're not awful speed bumps. They're, like, decent to deal with if you're, like, lowered from what I've seen. Facilities, really good. There's a Macca's, like, literally down the road, which is decent if you're looking for feed. Good vibes, I guess. But it's freaking Vet West, Coburn. It's a decent spot for mates, but it's nothing out of this world. I forgot which meet it was, but it was a big one, and they tried having Vet West Coburn as a stop, which was, obviously the parking lot was fucking jam-packed. There was, like, cars everywhere, and they had to spill over into other parking lots as well. So if it's a really big car club, would not recommend. I get decent photos here. The lighting is okay. It's very overcast, but it's really sparse as well. And the Macca's in the back is a bit of an eyesore sometimes. So it's not the worst spot, but it's not the best. It doesn't really bring anything new to the table as well. But again, it's a good spot to kick off a meet at, or like if you're doing a cruise from like north to south, south to north. Definitely have it in there somewhere if you can't think of anything else. B tier. Belmont Forum itself. It's reasonably central to everybody. It's really big. The only issue with the parking lot itself is there's like a big like road in the middle that divides the two parking lots up, but that's like nothing crazy. It's easy to cross. Definitely a good spot to end a cruise on. I wouldn't say start a cruise here. In my opinion, it doesn't really set a good vibe. It doesn't really do a whole lot for the cruise. Decent photos. Lighting's okay. Not the greatest in terms of like, I guess, background shots. Like, you won't really get a whole lot of interesting background shots here, but it is fairly decent. Nighttime, it's alright with the lighting. Nothing crazy, but like, it's not too bad. It's a B tier. I mean, there's also Macca's down there as well. It's like, it's actually really decent. Up next, Midland Anaconda. This spot is... Ooh, okay, where do I start? Me personally, I don't like it. It's L-shaped in terms of the way the parking is. Like, it's decently sized, but a lot of cars will have to battle with getting decent parking in the actual Anaconda bit. I am aware that Monday Meets does a lot of like Midland spots, and I would say Anaconda is definitely my favorite one though. Really good. It's just spud shed, so there's always that. Doesn't bring a whole lot to the table. It's good if you're gonna kick off a cruise there. The golden hour shots are nice. The buildings make for good like shade and stuff, but it's nothing. It's a bit far from some people, which I can understand, and it's not the most groundbreaking of spots. It doesn't bring anything new to the table. It's just a general parking lot, I guess, with a spud shed nearby. It's a C tier. Blacksmith Lane. This spot is so underappreciated for meets. Like, if you and your gang can get, like, parked up really nicely near this spot, it's good. It's like an industrial area as well, so people aren't gonna get too, like, annoyed if you rev, but, like, obviously keep it down. I will say, I'm pretty sure there's, like, a police thingy, like, not too far from here. Like, not like a police station, but, like, it's, facility, I guess, so to speak. So there is a chance of attracting unwanted attention, but in terms of vibes, it's amazing. It gives like a really industrial, like warehousey kind of vibe. I'm surprised people don't host meets here often. Probably because it's Midland. That's probably why. But also coordinating parking here would be a bit of an issue because like with the Perth WRX meets, what we did was we parked like 45 degrees down the actual lanes. But obviously you can parallel park or you can like park normally, I guess. There's also parking near the back and like there's a giant open area near there as well, so it's really good. Facility wise, it's not the greatest. There's no toilets, there's no food. Fairly accessible though. Again, there's like speed bumps, pretty big ones as well. So again, static and lowered, you're gonna have a hassle getting through here, but it's a good spot in my opinion, and it's definitely underappreciated. If you're going to host a meet or a cruise, have this done in the morning or at golden hour. And there is going to be extra effort needed to get everybody parked up nicely. So if it's a really big cruise, I wouldn't recommend it. Decent spot though. Definitely an A tier. Next up, Hammer Barn Cannington. Also known as Bunnings Cannington. It's a decent spot. Pretty big parking lot. Lighting is cooked though. The lighting is so bad here. I struggle to get good photos and edit like pics here. I just refuse to do it at times. But like the only time you really should be going here is to get pics of you and your cars near the like Hammer Barn logo, because you know who doesn't love Bluey. Did crash my drone here. Like I flew it into a tree, I think. So definitely a D tier. I'm just kidding. It's a C tier. It's nothing crazy. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. It's if you can't think of anything else and you're in the area or you're stopping near it for a cruise, I mean you might as well. But again, it best be avoided if you've definitely got better picks out there. Next up is Crown PA. This spot is something else. This spot is ooh okay. I like it because Monday meets. Definitely, it's been popularized for Monday meets. It's a good spot. There's always plenty of parking. However, the issue is once the cops get wind of shit going down here, it's basically like shooting fish in a barrel. You're gonna get trapped in here, and there's gonna be cops waiting to yell at you at all the exits. Fairly accessible though. It's central to everybody. I mean, it's near the CBD. Good facilities. The Macca's here is always banging. I don't know why. I swear, like, they just know how to do their shit right. Good vibes. It is Crown. It gives that, you know, parking lot vibe. Decent lighting. It's a bit spotty in some areas, but it's not the worst. You can also get some amazing drone shots here, especially when, like, the Crown thingy, like, the, I don't know what the word for it is, but, like, that big building as like the LEDs like changing and shit. Shenanigans are abound here. Like of course, there was the micro incident. I'm sure you all are familiar with that. That definitely seems to be his hunting ground. But good spot. If you're doing a meet, it's definitely a great place to have the end of a meet at. Monday Meets definitely has a right idea with putting it at the end of their meets, because again, it's central to everybody. Everybody like knows where it is. It's decent to get into, decent to get out of. It's a fun spot. It's got good facilities. It's an A tier, easy A tier. Vent Cinemas in Alur. This spot is a bit of a wild card for some, I believe, because not very many people know about. Well, I mean, not very many people utilize it. It's in Alur, which is a bit of an issue, so it's a drive for some people, myself included. But it's such a good spot because it is massive. Decent facilities as well, like Event Cinemas is nearby, so you've got like a toilet to go into. I think there's it's varsity, I think it's called. So if you want food, then there's that. Lighting is god awful, so definitely have this as a golden hour spot or a morning spot. Just, I swear to God, if you do something at night here, you're not gonna get good photos. Your photographers are gonna be trying to freaking. They're going to be on their last strings where they're going to be losing their sanity trying to get good photos here. Unless you pack a tripod, but nobody wants to be the tripod guy to meet. So, you know, decent vibes. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's just a big parking lot. So, it's definitely underutilized. And it's an amazing spot. But, again, it doesn't bring anything crazy to the table. But I would say it's a C tier. It's alright. It's nothing crazy. But it's a C tier that, like, actually, I'll talk about this later once I finish the tier list. Freer Munchies. This spot is superb. It's a bit of a drive from some people, so not too accessible. But again, if you're doing north to south or south to north type cruises, this is a good spot for a meetup. Amazing vibes. It's freer. There's a good background to work with. And if you can catch a shot with like a train in the back, going through the station behind it, you can pull off some amazing shots. Same with drones. It's fairly open, so you're not gonna fly into anything. It's decently well lit. Not the best at like night though, but again, it's more of a golden hour or like morning spot, if anything. The lighting at night, it's not the worst. It's definitely manageable. I've gotten some decent shots at night here, but it's nothing groundbreaking. It's not like Sci-Tech or like Morley in terms of night shot capabilities, but it's definitely a good way or a good spot to kick off a meet or to finish it. 100%. Facilities, there's no toilets, no food, very bad, but it's alright. Decent vibes though. Definitely B tier. Hillary's. Okay, Hillary's is... It's always a gamble with Hillary's because, like, a lot of meet coordinators, what they do is they put it after golden hour. One of the biggest gripes I have with Monday meets is when they don't kick off a meet at Hillary's. It's, like, don't get me wrong, like, it doesn't always have to be Hillary's if it's, like, near that area, but if you're gonna have a meet at Hillary's, please, for the love of God, please do it at golden hour. Your photographers will thank you, people will love it, but it's not the worst at nighttime either, but you definitely... The lighting is spotty. It's not the best at night. Drone shots here are amazing though. The way the symmetry is broken when all the cars are parked at a 45-degree angle is insane. You'll just get some breathtaking shots, especially if you can pan up and get Hillary's and like the ocean like nearby. Amazing spot. It's definitely a one-of-a-kind spot in Perth. I got some amazing photos here. Pretty accessible. Really good vibes. You know, there's always something funny going on at Hillary's. Maybe a certain green balaclava man will be pulling up to a meet here. You don't know, but it's a good spot. Hillary's Bar Harbor is like a walk away, so it's decent if you want to get a food or go to the toilet. A tier. Easily A tier. Not S, because if lighting, that's the biggest gripe. If the lighting is off, then... Not off, but like if the lighting is bad, you'll make your photos look off, and it's not good. But definitely A tier. Home court in Myri, or aka BBT Mondays. Prior to Monday meets, BBT Mondays was the meet to go to, and it's been like that until the Hoons ruined it. So great spot. Great vibes. It's how I got into car photography. It's how I really found my enthusiasm for it. Always a great turnout here. Great food, great facilities. There's a toilet nearby, and I mean it's not too far from people. It is in Myri, so it's a bit of a drive for some, but you know people do really go out of their way to make that drive because it's just such a wonderful spot. Nighttime lighting is amazing. I mean, obviously it's not the best, but it's not awful at some spots. I've gotten some really good nighttime photos here depending on where the cars park. It's a decently sized venue as well, so you can fit a lot of cars here, and there's a lot of good food spots here. Obviously, you go here for bubble tea, but if you want a good feed, Chop Chop Barbecue is definitely the spot to go to. I fucking love their Hainanese chicken. S tier, easily. The vibes are irreplaceable. BBT, prior to the Hoons ruining it, was something else, honestly. It really felt like a car meet. And the crazy thing is, I don't think people organized it either. Well, I mean, organized in the sense that there wasn't a single club behind it. It was just a spot people went to. It was just that one hub that people went to. Some of my favorite memories have just been, like, smashing out a day of uni, you know, just a couple lectures or tutorials on a Monday, and then just, you know, relaxing, finishing the day off at BBT. Amazing spot. Absolutely amazing spot. Kings Park. Fucking awful. Lighting is bad. It's decently sized, but that doesn't matter when it's it's Kings Park, bro. People from all over Perth are going to be here regardless of, like, the time and date. Like, maybe at 1 in the morning, maybe not, but even then, you don't know. There's so many speed bumps, and it's central to everybody, but it's just a pro that gets outweighed by the cons. The vibes are alright, but it's a parking lot in Kings Park, so you're not getting, like, the scenery in. It's just trees around it, and, like, it's not a good spot to have a meet as well. Like, there's people out here trying to enjoy their stuff. You know, you've got, like, families with, like, young kids and stuff, like, near here, and it's not a spot where people are definitely gonna be revving at. It's gonna be a D tier, easy D tier. Don't ever hold a meet here. I will fight you if I catch you holding a meet here. Oh my goodness, if you're a meet organizer and you hold a meet at Kings Park of all places, I'm fighting you. I'm actually gonna throw hands with you. Okay, so we've got all the spots. Now, time to organize them, like, fully. The way this is gonna work is it's gonna be best in terms of left to right. So, like, if something's closer, like, to the left, like, closer to the sea, then that spot is on the higher echelons of that tier, and is ranking, or not ranking, but it's almost spilling into the tier above. So, like, for example, Kings Park is, for C tier, we'll kick off with C tier. Woodman Point, out of all the C tier spots, in my opinion, is gonna have to go at the end. It's almost going into D tier, but it's not the worst either. Same with Event in Alu. Like, they're on the same vibe. Hammer Barn, I would say, is slightly better than Midland Bunnings. Only because Midland Bunnings can easily be substituted for Midland Anaconda, which is, in my opinion, a better C tier spot. Leaving Midland Anaconda as a C tier, going into B tier, almost. For B tiers, the worst B tier spot, in my opinion, it's a battle between the Belmont forums. I would say the Belmont forum itself just barely trumps over the undercover area, purely because it's just bigger in size. Either way, like, it's still a good spot. Not the best, but it's good. From there, I would say just spud sheds in general, like Janicot, Joondalup. They're okay. They're not the best. Lighting's kind of spotty depending on where it is, but you know, it's better than Belmont in my opinion. From there, I would say Vet West Coburn. Vet West. It's all right. It doesn't bring anything crazy to the table. It's a good spot though. It's a safe pick. That's the best way to put it. It's a safe pick. It's mid in terms of photography and, like, I guess the vibe, but it's always a safe pick. So if you don't know what to put in and you're still looking for decent spots, I would definitely 100% say Vet West Coburn. B tier. This is gonna be a hassle because I love Ocean Reef and Frio Munchies equally, but Ocean Reef definitely takes the B tier trump. It's It deserves to be the best B tier spot in my opinion because it's like a 2-in-1. You've got a photo shoot area down at the boat ramps, but also a meet spot at like the at the like actual parking lot nearby, and it's pretty big as well, and it's got good vibes. The only thing Freo has above this is the lighting. Like Freo Munchies at night has way better lighting than Ocean Reef. I don't think Ocean Reef is going to be a nighttime meet spot unless you know you're going to be up to no good there. You're going to be doing some shenanigans. You're going to be up to some tomfoolery, you know. So, A tier. This is going to be hard because these are all spots I like and I think that everybody likes. At the start of A tier, I would say is Scarborough. It's too much of a hassle to get in and out of it. It sits on that fence between B and A, purely because of getting in and out of it and because it lacks the facilities. But the vibes and the size definitely outweigh the cons. Not suited for big meets, of course, but it's definitely up there, and I feel like it's underappreciated. From there, I would say Crown P8. Oh fuck, Crown P8 and Optus Stadium, with Crown P8 just above Optus Stadium because it's Crown. You can't go wrong with Crown. Like Vet West Coburn, it's a safe pick, and it's a good pick as well. It's better than Optus because Optus is, again, it's always iffy. You don't know when something's going on down at Optus, so the parking lot there could be packed. And also, if you need to go to the toilet or whatever, it's going to be a walk from Optus. I mean, they're in the same area anyways, but, like, I'm sure if I asked people if, like, they'd rather go Optus or Crown, they'd say Crown. Hands down. Crown's good, though. I mean, Optus is good, though, but, like, Crown is just slightly better. From there, I would say, this is where it gets hard, like, really, really hard. I would say Blacksmith Lane. It's Blacksmith Lane, then Westfield Whitford's. Blacksmith Lane is a bit of a drive from everybody, and the nighttime vibes at Blacksmith Lane is going to be a bit of an issue, because, I mean, the nighttime lighting, sorry. Not the best for nighttime, but if you're doing a morning cruise, or if it's, like, again, golden hour, definitely pick this spot if it's nearby. The only major drawback is if people don't know how to park here, or they don't get the gist of how to park, it's going to be an issue. But it's a good spot nonetheless. Amazing vibes, amazing venue size, and facilities it lacks, but I don't think you're going to be here for too long. I mean, it is Midland after all. You don't want to be in Midland for too long. Hillary's and Westfield Whitford's. Hillary's obviously just takes the top pick, but Westfield Whitford's is good though. Decent venue size, amazing lighting. It's nothing groundbreaking though. Like, there's definitely better underground parking, underground parking lots out there. You know, like, we've got Morley Galleria and SciTech, but it's still good if you're in the Whitfords area or you're having a meet in the Whitfords area and you need a spot. It's amazing. The lighting here is superb, and you'll just get good vibes here. Decent accessibility as well. Great vibes, great facilities, but Hillary just trumps it. Hillary's is an amazing spot. Like, nighttime lighting is a bit bad. It's actually awful, but you'd hope that, you know, you don't get a cruise that happens here at night or a meet that happens here at night. But it's great nonetheless. Hillary's is an amazing spot, and it definitely just hits that vibe, you know. Next to an ocean, you get that nice breeze coming in. Drone shots here are amazing. Photos that I've taken here, amazing. Definitely takes the A tier and the S tier spot. Now onto S tier. This one I feel like is going to cause the most controversy, because the way I rank these might confuse some people. We'll start off with Morley Galleria at the very end. So this is bordering A and S tier. Decent spot. It's a great 2-in-1 spot, similar to the Ocean Reef spot, but better lighting overall. The lighting at the top, it's but it's good. You got that rooftop parking vibes, so, you know, great spot for decent photos. Great spot for drones as well. The bottom is amazing. The lighting just always hits, and the background is fairly neutral. So, if you're trying to, you know, get shots or specific detail shots, or just trying to put all the focus on a car or something, definitely the underground spot. Parking poles as well make for great leading lines. Amazing leading lines in some shots. But it's an S or A bordering into S tier because you know there's a better parking spot, and you guessed it, it's SciTech. SciTech just tops Morley Galleria because A, it's central, and B, it's like the lighting here in SciTech, in my opinion, just tops Galleria. Venue size is, in my opinion, a bit smaller, um, but it's SciTech. Can't go wrong with SciTech, bro. I love SciTech. Funny little dorm thing as well on the outside, so if you want to get that in the shots, um, it's definitely there. Um, I feel like the SciTech lighting is more better than Morley Galleria. I've never really struggled with editing photos in SciTech. Obviously there's like gonna be dark spots where there's piss poor lighting, but you'll work around that hopefully. Um, but it's better in terms of Morley from vibes and accessibility, in my opinion. Obviously there's the speed bumps in and around it. I've seen cars scrape on that, which was not pleasant to watch or look at, but it's SciTech. Fucking love SciTech. Alright, now BBT and Mill Point. The best meet spot between BBT and Mill Point is, this is gonna be a bit of a hassle to decide. I love both equally. BBT purely because of the vibes and the lighting and the facilities. But Mill Point also hits the spot. It's Mill Point. It's underneath the bridge, next to this one river, with the CBD as a background. You can get some absolutely nutty shots there. BBT, however, it was the spot. It was the meet spot for a while. So this is definitely gonna be a hard pick. Before I tell you which one's my favorite, definitely hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, TikTok as well. It's all linked in the description. I would definitely say BBT tops it. I mean, it's BBT. It's in Myri, yes. It's a bit of a hassle to get to, yes, and it flourished and then it got killed by Hoons, but I'm praying that one day the car scene just treats it as like a holy place where they just don't Hoon there. Everybody just gathers there for like a nice afternoon of looking at cool cars, buying BBT, getting a decent feed, and then taking their shenanigans elsewhere. It's an amazing spot, and it's definitely the spot where I get into car photography, or at least where my car photography journey really kicked off. So I don't know, maybe that's a bit of bias, but Mill Point's always been there as well. So again, just the vibes from BBT out vibe the vibes from Mill Point. Anyways, that's it for the tier list video. If you liked it, definitely hit that subscribe button. Definitely, like, help me get to 1K, please. I want to get monetized ASAP, please. Anyways, if you have any like issues with my picks or the way I organize this, definitely go comment down below. Go bitch about it in the comments if you hated some of my picks. But other than that, yeah, thanks for watching.